The worst part of it, this is really one of those pigs at the trough stories that we're seeing from the oil industry just about every week right now. The new part to this story is the old stories being relived in an ugly way. Understand, this is a company, as you point out, killed 11 people because of just absolute greed, trying to cut corners, trying to make a quick bunch of money. That's after they killed 15 workers at their oil refinery in Texas. And because of that conduct, Tom, they had to plead guilty to felonies. And what's happening now is the American public finally, at least down here in the Gulf states, are figuring out how criminal this company really is. I mean, when I say criminal, this is they've been hit for illegal price fixing, they've been hit for illegal dumping of toxins, they've been hit for manslaughter, they've been hit for perjury, they've been hit for lying to Congress, and they have this criminal history that just now is surfacing. As a matter of fact, people are just now learning, because of a lot of reasons, they're just now learning that this is a startling number, but it's the actual fact. They learned that between 2007 and 2010, 97% of all of the oil industry OSHA health and safety and death violations were all attributable to BP. That's out of all the industry, 97% of them could be attributed to BP. So now they're in a real big PR fight down here, and that's another part of the story.
Is it possible that one of the reasons why this isn't being covered very much in the corporate media is because BP is buying so much advertising?
It's exactly the reason. Look, if you say to corporate media, you know, BP gives them a call and says, look, if you'll keep this story dead, we're going to do another $100,000 of advertising with you this week. That's exactly what happens. But what's happening right now, in this case alone, you have BP in the Gulf case, $600 million is what they've spent in PR. Now what they've done, they've moved into a whole new level of ugly, Tom. Now they're actually accusing the victims, the people who are making these claims, they're accusing them of fraud. There's no sign of fraud. The court asked them, well, where's the fraud? In open court, they could give no example of fraud at all. But they've started this 1-800-fraud number trying to make the victims sound like they have somehow committed fraud. Look, they're trying to create this good guy image when they've killed as many people as John Wayne Gacy killed, for God's sakes. They've had to plead to more felonies than virtually any oil company out there. So right now, the new approach is to attack the very people who they've taken their lives away from them. These are people who have health problems, very severe health problems from what BP did. These are people who've lost some of them are second and third generation in the fishery business and businesses along the coast. They've lost those businesses. They've lost their homes. Their families are completely upside down. And BP, this is where it really gets ugly, BP agreed to pay them. They had more than 1,000 of their lawyers agreed to a settlement where they would pay these people if they did A, B, and C. So now these people are doing A, B, and C, and BP is saying, oh my goodness, we can't afford that. It's a contract. They're trying to violate the contract. They're trying to make these people suffer one more time. They lied to them to get them here because they were trying to get past criminal charges. They were hoping the DOJ would not hold them more criminally liable than they did. So they signed off on this document to get past the criminal charges, and now they're saying, gee whiz, our lawyers weren't very smart. This is literally what they're saying. Our lawyers must not have been very smart because they agreed to something we can't do.
That's mind-boggling. I understand you're part of the team that's going after them, or part of the group of people that is going after them on this.
Full disclosure, I am, Tom, so I'm seeing it firsthand. I'm seeing a level of ugliness that I don't think I've ever seen in corporate misconduct. As you know, I handle cases from tobacco to pharmaceuticals. This is a level of criminality. This is a history of criminality that now we have a corporation that says, gee whiz, we lied. The other part of it is they lied to their shareholders. When they signed this agreement, Tom, they came out and said, this is only going to cost shareholders $7 or $8 billion. When they said that, they were told clearly in open court, no, this is likely to cost as much as 50 to 60 to 70 billion dollars. And so they lied to their shareholders so their stock wouldn't fall. They knew that the number was much bigger. And now, after they've lied to the victims who have lost everything, they're trying to call the victims criminals for making the very claims the very way that they laid out in their settlement agreement.
Absolutely mind-boggling. Is it possible that the cleanup for this spill could have been more harmful to the Gulf ecosystem than the spill itself?
Well, we're finding now, the story just came out this week, as a matter of fact, out of Pensacola. The people that are doing the studies on this are finding out that sperm whales in the Gulf are the most polluted, toxic sperm whales in the world. And what they're attributing it to, of course, is core exit. What happened was you had BP that wanted to cover it up. They didn't want all this oil coming to the surface every day. They were getting hammered in the media because every day the spill would get bigger, the slick would get bigger, it would show up on beaches. So what they did is they sank it to thousands of feet to hide it. And now, unfortunately, every time there's a storm, it comes back up. It comes onto the beach by way of tar balls. It's still killing all types of wildlife. We have more wildlife mutations down here than we've ever had. Dolphins are dying. They can't reproduce. Fish are of all types of mutations we've never seen before. And BP is out there telling the American public, all is well, buy our fuel. When you buy fuel from this company, you are buying fuel from a corrupt criminal. Their history, I can't even touch. They have such a criminal history. We don't even have time to talk about the incidents of criminality that this company's involved itself with. And they want to take the high ground, and they want to make it look like they're the people wearing the white hat. And you know what? Corporate media is buying into it because they put ads with corporate media.
Mind-boggling. When you look at all the damage caused by the BP oil spill, do you think it's time to give BP the corporate death penalty? Dissolve the company?
Well, Tom, from day one, that was my position. I said, you know what, we can get some recovery here, and we can put these people out of business in this country. Their arrogance, to have Tony Hayward, you may remember, the CEO said, you know, I just want to get my life back. I'm suffering so horribly because people are asking me tough questions. I want to get my life back. And then he went sailing for about 3 weeks. Now, that is the type of arrogance we see from this foreign corporation, this British corporation. We don't need BP. We have plenty of corporations that'll fill that void. The job loss, these people that work with BP are simply going to move to another company. It's really no harm to this country. We should give them the death penalty. They should not be permitted to do business in this country, and that needs to come back on the table for serious discussion. Right now, we had the Obama administration, again, that maybe caved in again and said, we're going to let you go. We're not going to go after all the criminal causes we could have. We should have some of these people in handcuffs going to prison. Instead, they're over in London making fun of our court systems. They're over in London making fun and victimizing the very people that they've already victimized by taking their life away from this horrendous spill.
Pap, last 15 seconds here. Do you think that the Obama administration is going to do anything more about all this criminality?
No. I seriously doubt it.
Yeah. So what can average Americans do?
Well, one thing they can do is they can continue. Why would you buy BP fuel when you know that what you have here is a corporation that is engaged in criminal conduct, and now they're trying to victimize the very people that they victimized once before by calling them the frauds?